Welcome folks to the Rusty Lid Off-Road YouTube channel. I'm CJ, and as you well know, I'm a little bit addicted to Jeeps. And case in point is this 80-year-old Jeep behind me that we are converting to electric. And today's episode marks the beginning of the teardown of this vehicle. That's right, we are dismantling a 1943 Willys MB, and we are tearing it down to figure out what we want to do to bring it back to electric. Now, when I started this project, I had a plan. I had it all figured out, except for some of the electric pieces, which I'll be covering in the future. But as of this episode, that plan went out the window. And I'll be honest with you, I had a little bit of an aha moment, or a come to Jesus moment, when we pulled the engine out of this Jeep and there was no turning back. So enjoy the episode. I'm going to be talking through some of the steps that we did to get rid of this motor, pull it out of this rig. Spoiler alert, it even involved a Sawzall. And then we'll talk about what's coming next for this rig. But thank you for tuning in, and hope you enjoy the episode. And I just started tinkering, and so I started looking at where things are connected. And the first thing I found was the air box and air cleaner. We took those apart, pulled them off the carburetor and the firewall. And then I dove right into the grill and radiator. I don't have the tallest engine hoist in the world, and figured the extra room would be kind of nice. So we pulled that grill out, which is actually really well designed, really easy to pull out. And then the radiator, which is only held in by 2 bolts, and that support member that connects to the firewall. Really easy stuff. Once we had that all pulled out, it was time to start working on the bell housing bolts and the exhaust. And so I started digging in and ended up sawzalling the exhaust out. It was a huge pain in the butt, hard to get the sawzall in there. Started attacking these gosh darn bell housing bolts. Impossible to get to. As anyone who has ever worked on a motor or pulled a motor from a vehicle with a body, that firewall and body and transmission tunnel are right in the way. And boy, was it hard to get wrenches in there. Non-stop, taking out bolts that are 40, 50, 60 years old attached to that motor. Using hammers and wrenches and impacts and whatever we could to get it apart. Ultimately, we got everything unbolted, got the motor mounts undone, flew the engine hoist in. And was able to get the motor up and off the weight of the frame. And then we disconnected the transmission and we got it kind of input shaft pulled out. And I still had linkages I didn't know that were waiting for me, so we pulled out those linkages. Well, folks, we did it. We accomplished what we thought we'd do, which was pull the engine out. Not that I'd had that planned that day, or that was my goal for that day, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot harder than I'd planned on it being. What I did not expect to have happen after I pulled that engine out, though, was for me to kind of get that kind of guttural response in my stomach, that I don't know what's next feeling. And that's where I'm at right now. Now that I pulled the engine out, it feels like, well, we should swap out the axles and swap out that transmission and transfer case to make them stronger. But then what are my options? What does that look like? So I hope you'll continue to follow along in our journey where we explore some of the answers to those questions and concerns, because I don't yet know the answer. I've got a lot of different things floating around in my head, and we're going to be figuring it out as we go. So please, so you don't miss a single piece of the action along in our journey, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching.